You can eliminate toxins, you can eat better, you can exercise, you can go to the doctor. The number one thing you can do to prevent cancer is 8 hours of sleep. You don't think about your performance, but I want you to think about your performance. We get one ticket. Why wouldn't we want to be performing at our best? Hey guys, welcome back to another Rest, Eat, Move podcast. And we're coming off our 4-part series on digestion. It was a fun little series that we put together. Digestion is becoming a big problem. Many of our clients, many of our customers, many people we come across are having digestive issues. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to it, know someone that could benefit, share it, listen to it, re-listen to it. That's going to be a evergreen series that we can fall back on. Today, we're going to talk about the rest part of Rest, Eat, Move, specifically sleep. And just for the listeners who are maybe new to the podcast or not quite sure why we call it Rest, Eat, Move, probably 11, 12 years ago, we were trying to come up with a tagline for what we do. We'd get asked, what do you do? And we tell them we help people feel their best. We teach them nutrition and exercise and sleep. And we came up with Eat, Rest, Move. And it sounded so good. It covered the 3 buckets we really pride ourselves on, what makes us unique, not just nutrition, but movement stuff and sleep. So we came up with Eat, Rest, Move. And still to this day, most people call it Eat, Rest, Move. And at that moment, we were talking about it, and I talked to the team, and I said, I like Eat, Rest, Move, but we teach Rest, Eat, Move. And we teach it in that prioritization, in that sequence, because it's how the body works. Let me explain this. We can only last a couple minutes without breathing. We can only last a couple days without sleep. Stress is melting us down. And so rest, in my opinion, and actually scientifically, is the most important thing out of the 3. From there, we talk about nutrition. We need a proper nutrition. We can only survive for weeks without nutrition. We can last a couple days without water. So nutrition is very important. That's the eat component. And then move. We're designed to move. As humans, we're designed to move, but we could go our entire life without exercise. And so it's important. It can solve a lot of problems. If it came in a pill, everyone would be prescribed it. But it's not usually the first step for most people to get some of their problems or challenges solved. Most of the time, it's the rest piece. Managing stress, sleep, white space, breathing. It can really be a profound impact. And then nutrition. So rest, eat, move, just to recap, that's why we talk about rest, eat, move. So I thought today we come out of the digestive series, and most of the digestive issues that we see can be really improved dramatically by improving rest because it manages stress. And in my opinion, stress is the reason why we have such an impact on gluten intolerances, digestive issues, IBS, Crohn's, autoimmune issues, because we're not giving ourselves that rest and digest component of our nervous system. We're in that fight or flight, that sympathetic response. So we're going to talk about sleep, and we're going to title this, Sleep Like a Pro or Sleep Like a Baby. I like Sleep Like a Baby. It's funny to me. I have 3 kids, and when they were all babies, I would think, I don't know if I want to sleep like a baby. But once they're asleep, for the most part, they sleep pretty hard. But most babies that I've come across, they struggle to fall asleep, and they don't always stay asleep, and they can become fussy. So we're going to talk about sleeping like a pro. I'm going to come up with a couple tactics, 5 different tactics. But this is the ultimate reset. It's a amazing process that's beautiful in what it does. And for the last 60 years, we've really been studying sleep, and it's starting to show that it's the number 1 investment we can make in our health. Not number 2, number 1. The number 1 investment you can make in your health is 8 hours of sleep. Now, breathing is a really important tool. I talk about that. That's kind of like the first part of rest is breathing. But from an investment standpoint, time over space and value, sleep by far, 8 hours is the number 1 investment you can make in your sleep. I always like to explain the number 1 preventer of cancer of anything you do or choose to do. You can eliminate toxins, you can eat better, you can exercise, you can go to the doctor. The number 1 thing you can do to prevent cancer is 8 hours of sleep. And we've all been touched by cancer. This isn't going to be an alarm. Cancer's growing faster than ever before, different types, different variations. And yet we're sleeping only 6.5 hours for the first time in human existence. So sleep's a big deal. It's a great investment that we need to make. But what if you thought about sleep as your way to boost your energy? We think about that. Yeah, we need sleep for energy. Burn fat. Some of us don't realize that when you sleep, you're actually metabolically doing a lot of really important things. Build muscle. This is where the body repairs and grows. Improve your mood issues, mental health, fulfillment. So it doesn't cost anything. We have it. We have it at our disposal. Yet it's the number one thing as you age, you want to improve. And yet as you age, sleep gets more difficult. And so it's a very challenging subject. We're sleeping less than ever before. And yet many of the health crises could drastically be improved by getting 8 hours of sleep. So let's talk about it. Part one here, why sleep's a non-negotiable. Number one, you have to prioritize it. You have to value it. I think for many people, we expect it. We don't really know why we need to do it. And so we don't really prioritize it and value it as a non-negotiable. It's kind of like if it's there, it's there. Now, here's the interesting thing. We can only last 3 days without sleep. And after 24 hours, anyone would be a mess without sleep. But you can get by on 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and the average American sleep in less than 6.5 hours. So we can survive, but we can't thrive. But why is it a non-negotiable? Why is it so valuable? Number one, it's creating cellular repair when you're sleeping. So growth hormone increases, it heals and kind of repairs the body. So those cells, we've talked about them, that's what happens during sleep. Those cells get rejuvenated, restore. That's what sleep is. It's restoring the body. This is a big one. When you hear about cancer, toxicity, cell mutation, your brain also needs to detox. And it's only during sleep that your brain detoxifies. And it's called the lymphatic system. So your body, not your brain, your body has the lymphatic system. It's kind of like your sewer system. You have to move. It doesn't have a pump, and that blood and different processes eliminates toxins. Well, your brain has a lymphatic system, but it's only activated when you sleep. And this clears those toxins. So you hear about Alzheimer's disease, and we're finding that it's these beta amyloid plaque buildup that create this potential Alzheimer's disease. Well, it's your lymphatic system that clears that buildup. And so that's why 8 hours of sleep is so magical, because it allows the brain to clear and detox. Number three, hormones. I've talked about hormones. We've had hormonal podcasts. Lack of sleep disrupts your leptin, ghrelin balance. So ghrelin is going to be your hunger hormone. So when you're not sleeping, you're going to be more hungry. When you're not sleeping, you're going to have more stress. That's cortisol. And then that's going to impact your estrogen and your testosterone. And we've talked about that in a couple of podcasts back. So hormones are a big part of sleep. Number four is immune system. Your sleep strengthens your immune system. Losing 1 hour of sleep decreases your immune system by 20%. So let's go through that. 1 hour, 20%, 2 hours, 40%, 3 hours, 60%, 4 hours, 80%, 5 hours, you're going to get sick. And so we can kind of think about that. If I'm only getting 2 hours of sleep, anybody will have a breakdown. It's going to have some symptomatic effect. Most people cannot survive very well on 2 hours of sleep. But there is a magical number. I talk about this thing where from like 0 to 2 hours, most people are in that bucket. From 2 to 4, there might be a couple people, but from 4 to 6 is probably a majority of our society. And the reason is because we can survive, we can kind of push forward, we can drink more coffee and caffeine and fake it till we make it. But really to thrive, you need between 7.5 and 8 hours of sleep. And the last thing for a non-negotiable is its performance. So any elite athlete knows that they need recovery, 8 to 10 hours of recovery to perform at their best physically. But as a non-athlete, or maybe you're just you think about an average Joe or a working corporate job or middle age, whatever it is, have kids, have a family, have priorities, responsibilities. You don't think about your performance, but I want you to think about your performance. We get one ticket. Why wouldn't we want to be performing at our best? So part two here, let's talk about the stages. Stage one is transitioning to sleep. So we spend very little time transitioning, but we go through about 5 transitions a night. So actually, you wake up about 5 times a night. Maybe you go to the bathroom during this time. Maybe you don't even realize it and you go right into your sleep stages or different cycles. But stage 1 is transitioning. Stage 2 is where we actually spend the most amount of time. This is where the body slows down. This is where memories are formed. And stage 1 and stage 2 are usually where you spend the most amount of time in sleep if you're drinking alcohol. So you're not going to, when you're drinking a lot of alcohol, you're not going to dream. You're not going to get in a lot of deep sleep. You may be asleep, but you're not getting the other 4 parts of sleep. So there's 4 stages. You go through each kind of cycle every 90 to 110 minutes. So that's about 5 cycles a night. And so if you're sleeping less than 8 hours, you get less cycles. And because you get less cycles, that's where the impact is. But let's talk about stage 3. So stage 1, stage 2, very important. But what really most people are missing is stage 3 and stage 4. Stage 3 is deep sleep. This is physical repair. This is when the body is repairing itself. This is when your immune system is repairing itself. This is when you're going to produce hormones like growth hormone and gain strength and all these amazing things. So think about the body, aches and pains, inflammation. If you're having those things, I really would prioritize how do we get better deep sleep. One of my little tricks to teach people is it's in the early part of sleep where we get deep sleep. And so the earlier you go to bed, the better deep sleep you're going to have. The earlier you wake up, we're going to get into a second, the less likely you're going to be getting good REM sleep, rapid eye movement. So physically, mentally, brain, body, all those things are very connected. But the magical part of sleep is it's covering each in different aspects, but they coexist. Stage 4 is rapid eye movement. This is brain health. This is memory. This is cognitive function, emotional processing. This is where you dream. This is where you're going to have that brain detox with the glymphatic system. If you're not dreaming or you're missing the REM sleep, you're going to have REM deficit states where when you do get 8 hours, it's going to be wacky, wild dreams because the body's trying to, it has that buildup. And so it's not just about the 8 hours, it's about what's happening in the 8 hours. But for most people that I see, they're not getting stage 3 and stage 4. And the big challenge that I see people not realizing, if you go to bed late, you miss deep sleep. If you go to bed at a pretty good time, but you wake up really early and you're only getting 5-6 hours of sleep, you're missing that last exponential amount of what's called rapid eye movement. The last 2-hour period of an 8-hour cycle is where you get between 50 and 60% of your rapid eye movement. The last 2 hours of an 8-hour period is where you get 50 to 60% of your rapid eye movement. Matt, I only get 6 hours of sleep. You just lost 50% of your rapid eye movement. And so I see people, they can function, they're high performers, they're executives, they're business owners, they're doing well financially, but they're getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep. What that's setting you up for, and I'm not predicting the future, but at some point, we're going to have some type of brain cognitive inflammation issue, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, MS, autoimmune issues down the road. And I've said this for many years. When I started On Target Living, I would say one of my whys is I want to live to 120, but in that 120, I want to have my brain, not just my body. And so we're seeing people live longer, but that brain is not going with them. Big part of it is we're not prioritizing sleep. So part 2, those 4 stages, those cycles of sleep, we go through about 5 cycles a night if you're getting 8 hours, and it's the magical equation. Okay, part 3 here is what are the hacks? Well, there's so many things. Now, if I was coaching somebody, we'd break them down. What are you doing? What are you not doing? Where are you having issues? What are we going to improve? But I came up with my 5 things that I really believe people, if they're looking for quick fixes, different habits and strategies, these are the 5 things that I think most people need to pay attention to. First one right here. When screen time passes sleep time, we're in trouble. And we're pretty close to that. I think we're averaging about 5 hours plus on our screens, and sleep time's under 6.5 hours. So if your screen time is more than your sleep time, that'd be number 1 thing I'd do. But more tactical, how are you using this device in relation to sleep? Here's what I like to recommend people. 30 minutes before you go to bed. So number 1, I always recommend someone has a bedtime. You need to know when you're going to bed, when you're waking up. So if you have to wake up at 6 and you want 8 hours of sleep, that's 10 o'clock. They need to go to bed. 30 minutes before 10 o'clock, we're putting this away. I actually like to charge it in my kitchen. It eliminates the temptation. 30 minutes before bed, I'm putting down the phone. Number 2, 30 minutes after I wake up. Don't say the excuse, well, my alarm clock's on the phone. Get a different alarm clock. 30 minutes after you wake up, try to not look at your phone. And that's a huge one when it comes to sleep, because it's not what we do right before sleep, it's how we spend our day that's going to impact our sleep. If we wake up and the first thing we do is a reaction or the tsunami or the stock market or emails or pings or dings or social media that has no positive impact on us, we've already started in a reactive negative state. And so that nervous system is in cortisol. And so we want to eliminate 30 minutes before we go to bed, 30 minutes after we wake up. That's my number 1. Number 2, nutrition throughout the day. Eating food, the right food, is going to have a huge impact on your sleep. We know if we have a huge meal, not the right meal, cocktails, drinks before bed, maybe we fall asleep, but the sleep quality is going to be crummy. But I want you to think about your day nutritionally and what it does to your sleep. Specifically, how do I get more foods, not supplements, foods rich in magnesium? Dates, raisins, figs, chia seeds, cacao, bananas. Google foods and magnesium. We want to eat these foods more frequently throughout the day. But nutrition is a big deal. I'm not going to go into all the tactic nutritionally, but nutrition plays a role in sleep. Number 3, exercise, more specifically movement. I said earlier, movement's the third pillar, but movement washes our mind, allows blood to flow, lets that lymphatic system pump, gets our muscles activated. If you have a dog or a pet, they need to move their body. And so exercise or movement is a huge improvement for sleep. If people are not exercising that are struggling to sleep, that's a big one to improve. Number 4, now we're getting closer to bedtime, the temperature. When you're expected to be in bed 8 hours, 9 hours, that 9-hour period, 8-hour period, I want the temperature in the room to be between 65, 68 degrees. My house, I sleep pretty good at around 68. If you're struggling to sleep, try to lower the temperature. You don't want to be cold, but if you get hot, you're not going to stay asleep. 2, 3 a.m., people get hot, agitated. Many times it's deficiency in magnesium, but sometimes it's temperature. So temperature is a big deal. A dark environment. I love a little sound machine or the ambiance to be something relaxing. Number 4. And then number 5, the non-negotiable. If you want to improve sleep, you want to sleep like a pro, not sleep like a baby. If you want to improve your baby's sleep, you go to bed at the same time, you wake up at the same time. I don't even use an alarm clock, haven't needed an alarm clock. My body has a circadian rhythm. It knows that it needs to wake up. I wake up on average around 6:40 most days. Maybe sometimes I have to get to the airport or something, so I wake up a little earlier, but I'm going to bed usually around 10 p.m. I'm waking up at 6:30, 6:40. I'm going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. It creates that circadian rhythm. So those are the 5 quick fixes, habits, routines that I really think most people could benefit from. There's obviously a lot more, but it begins by prioritizing. Last component, what's getting in the way? Our phones, stress, work, other responsibilities, anything that gets in the way. Most people expect sleep, they don't prioritize sleep. Most people expect sleep, they don't plan it. You need to plan it, you need to schedule it, it needs to be top priority. If it's the number one investment, I'm probably not going to make the least amount of effort. So if I have something that I believe is a great investment and I put no effort into it, that's idiotic. But we do it with sleep all the time because we are going to sleep some. It happens every night. And so we tend to get away from some of these routines, these habits, these rituals. Alcohol, late meals, overtraining, high stress, emails, texts, social media, Netflix, games. Maybe you're a little bit overweight, struggling with sleep apnea, snoring, whatever it is. These are some of the things that are getting in the way. I think the biggest one getting in the way is stress. Isn't it crazy that rest, in my opinion, is the solution for stress? And yet, if you don't manage stress, it's the thing that's going to get in the way of rest. And so they work together. That's why it's rest, eat, move. This sleep is really important. Number one investment I make, number one investment I coach people to make if it's not something they're doing well. It's not just downtime. 60 years ago, we thought it was just a period of rest, not a lot going on. Close your eyes, wake up, away you go. It's priming your body. It's repairing your body. It's resetting, rebuilding. Sleep is so, I think, freaking cool. And so tonight, tomorrow, prioritize sleep. Value it. Pretend like you're going to live to 100. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you do. But if you're going to live to 100, and we know that the 8 hours of sleep protects the brain. It's one of the most important things to protect the brain. Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's are going faster than ever before. Cancer's higher than ever before. We need to prioritize this amazing thing called sleep. 8 hours is the number one investment to me that you can make in your brain and your body. And so tonight, tomorrow, let's sleep like a pro. Thank you for joining us. As always, share the podcast. Send us an email. What do you like? What do you want to hear from? How can we improve it? We're here for you to guide you on how to feel your best. And we'll see you again next time.